Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this video is a requested video. Someone wanted to know what my favourite makeup brushes were, so that is what I'm going to be sharing with you in today's video. I've tried to narrow it down as much as I can. These are the brushes that I tend to just pick automatically every day. So I've kind of picked one brush for each application of things like foundation, blusher, contour. There is 3 different brushes, but it's to create 3 like different finishes, and it depends whether it's cream or powder product that I'm using. So yes, I'll start with my favourite face brushes yet. I should point out they're pretty much all Real Techniques or Luxie, with a couple of Kiko brushes chucked in there as well. So there is no brush I use to apply my primer. I just kind of go straight in with my hands and apply primer. So in terms of foundation, if I'm not using a beauty sponge, which at the moment I'm using the Real Techniques, not Real Techniques, I'm using the Makeup Revolution sponge, which isn't my favourite, I'm not gonna lie, it's quite stiff. I prefer the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion sponge. But if I'm not using a sponge, then I'm going to tend to use a stippling brush. Something like this. This is the Luxie 538 flat angled blender brush. So as you can see, it's a flat top but it has a slight angle to it. I just prefer stippling brushes or kabuki brushes to apply foundation, because I just find it really buffs in the foundation well. You can go in like stippling motions to create a fuller coverage, or blend it in to create a slightly lighter natural coverage. And I like it, the fact that this one is angled as well, because it means when I want to get a little bit under my eyes, I can do as well, and it fits really nicely under the eyes, and just like it goes around the chin area and jawline, blending it out really nicely as well. So yeah, I like either stippling or flat kabuki brush type things to apply my foundation. This just happens to be my current favourite one. In terms of concealer, I use this brush here to apply. This is a Deluxe Crease Brush. This is a Real Techniques one, and I think a lot of people use this more for concealer as well, because it blends out concealer really nicely under the eyes, especially thick creamy concealers, and it doesn't leave any brush strokes as well, and it just blends out really quickly as well. And then for setting concealer, I like to go in with my Real Techniques setting brush, which is this one just here. Super fluffy, not too dense, because I don't ever do the baking thing under my eyes or anywhere, because I'm really not a huge fan of powder and the powdery look that it can give, and especially under my eyes I find too much powder can make them look tired and old as well under the eyes, so I try to avoid it. So this one's perfect because it's a slightly not too dense, so it picks up a reasonable amount of product, but you can just really lightly dust under your eyes, so it applies enough to set but not lots that it starts like cake or anything. So I really love that one. If I do happen to want to set my entire face, which isn't that often, because I like if I'm wanting it to last for a long time, then yes, I will set it. If I just need it for not too long, or if I know the foundation won't disappear, then I won't bother. To be honest, I only tend to put powder down the T-zone, because that is the areas which tend to get a bit oily, so it will kind of fade the foundation off almost. But if I do want to set the entire face, then I'll go in with massive Kiko fluffy brush. It doesn't have a name on it, and I think this is one of the limited edition ones, but it's just basically a big fluffy kind of kabuki style brushes. It is quite dense actually, so it does pick up a relatively large amount of powder. But I tend to use this more for pressed powders, and then I can just buff it over the skin just to help set foundation. Onto our contouring brushes. Like I said, I have 3 that I really like to use, and I said it depends on the finish I want and whether it's a cream or powder product. So if it's a cream product, then there's only one brush I will use, and it's the Real Techniques Sculpting brush. This is quite a dense brush, so it just really helps blend out cream products in general, and I love the fact that it's angled like this, because then it fits really nicely into the hollows of the cheekbones to get a really nice chiseled effect. There's a powder contour product that I want to use, and I've got 2 different brushes, and this will depend on how contoured I want to look. So if I'm after something that's quite a chiseled contour, maybe if I'm going out, want to be slightly more glamorous, just very chiselled, just heavily contoured, then I'll go in with this Real Techniques contour brush. This is one of the very few brushes I use for what it's actually for, if that makes sense, the names. And it just, because it's quite, it does pick up a reasonable amount of product, and because it's quite small, it just fits really well into the hollows again, and just really can create a nice chiseled effect. And because it's slightly less dense than the Sculpting one, it works better for powder, I think. If I want a slightly more of a natural contour, then I'll go for this one. This is actually a blush brush from Real Techniques. So it's much less dense, so it doesn't pick up as much product. It's much fluffier, so it distributes the product more. You kind of, because it's not so small, you kind of get a large area, so slightly less chiselled. But it does have kind of a natural taper point to it at the end, so you can focus the end brush in the hollows, but then with the outer hairs, synthetic hairs, you can then blend it out, so it's much less of a heavy contour and slightly less chiselled. So if you did want more of a natural contour, if you're still maybe, if you want to do it for an everyday basis, I don't know, or just something like more of a light glamour look, then I love this brush, it's much better. In terms of blush brushes, there's only been one that I've really loved, and since I've got it I haven't used any other brush, and I got this a while ago I think. This is the Luxe 504 large angled brush. It comes like this. I can't really tell you why I love this one so much really, because there's no real reason, it's just the one I happen to pick up and I just really enjoy it. It just, I think because it's really fluffy, it doesn't pick up too much product, so you can't go heavy in with the blush, which I think is a very good thing, because obviously you don't want to look like a clown or anything like that. And I think also because it is angled, it just, I don't know, sits on the cheeks a bit better. In terms of highlighting, I absolutely love, if it's a cream highlighter then I'll go in with a sponge, but if it's a powder highlight then I like this Real Techniques Bold Metals brush. This is the 300, so it's in one of the rose gold packagings, which I absolutely love. I don't know what this is meant to be originally for. I think blusher for some reason, I don't know why, but I just find because it kind of angles this way in, if that makes sense, so it's flatter on the sides, it just sits nicely on top of the cheekbones, and then you can just go in. It's probably, it's a bit denser than my the blusher brush I like, so it picks up a little bit more product, so you can get quite a glow going, which is what I like. And it just, I don't know, it's just one that just sits nicely on top of the cheekbones. Another Real Techniques Bold Metals brush, but this is in the silver one to represent it is an eye brush, and this is the 202, so it's a very small angled brush, and I love this for doing my eyebrows with if I'm using like the Freedom pomade, because it is quite a dense brush, so then you can create really good hair-like strokes, and it's quite small, so you can get really nice small strokes, so you don't go too heavy or too bold, I don't think. And because it's structured, like I said, you can just get the perfect kind of strokes going. Onto the eyes, in terms of packing product onto the lid, there are a couple of flat brushes that I like to use, but this one in particular is one of my go-tos. It's a Kiko brush, again I think it's a limited edition one, and it's one of the double-ended ones. I don't mind this, it's not my favourite, but it's not a bad brush, but this is the side I go for a lot, and when I want to pack on glitter or just generally pack eyeshadow onto the lid, this is a great brush to use. It's quite dense, so it picks up a lot of product, but there is minimum fallout with this because you're packing it on and not swiping. There's less chance of fallout as well. In terms of creating a transition shade and just really blending everything out, I really like this Luxe brush. This is the 229 Tapered Blending brush. It's quite a big fluffy brush, not too dense, and it's really nice, again like I said, for just creating that initial transition shade and then blending out whatever eyeshadows you then further put on, just to make sure everything is nicely blended. Yeah, because it's not so dense, it just really softens the eyeshadow. Then for going into the crease, I'm more on and then darkening up the outer corners. It's a very similar brush, it's just a lot smaller, so you can be a bit more precise with it. Another Deluxe 231 small tapered blending. So basically the exact same, just a smaller version. So this one allows you to get into the crease and to deepen out the outer corners. I like to do it a lot. It's slightly more dense, so you get more product, so it's slightly deeper. So it works good with darker colours, you want to really deepen things up. And then like I said, I will then go back in with this one and blend everything out because it's much slightly less dense and more fluffy. So those two in conjunction with each other are perfect. In terms of creating that winged liner, I love this one again. It's Deluxe 215 small angled. Unlike the Real Techniques bold metals, this is slightly less dense. But it's really great. I'd say it's much thinner though, so it can help create a really nice precise winged liner. And I've been using this a lot recently. We're using liquid lipsticks as eyeliners. Sometimes if I want to have a really fun, colourful liquid liner, but I don't obviously own that colour liquid liner, I'll use a liquid lipstick. I've been doing a lot with the Colourpop lipsticks. I think I did it a couple of times on my channel. And this just happens to be the brush that I like to apply it with. To be honest, it's not that much different from the Real Techniques. One, just that I happened to start using this one for brows, so I decided to use this one for wing liner. So, to be honest, either way around, it wouldn't make a difference with these brushes really. In terms of the lower lash line, again, I've got two brushes I like. It depends on the outcome I want. So if I want to really smoke out the lash line, really diffuse it down and out, I will take this Deluxe 213 eye shading brush. So as you can see, it's kind of like a flat brush, slightly domed, and this is great. Like I said, it really helps blend out eyeshadow, and because it's sort of thick, it just smokes out quite low down as well. So if you want to create that really smoky lower lash line, this is great. But for sometimes when I want more not so smoky and just really focused along the lash line, I'll go with this pencil brush from Kiko. This is the Eyes 207. Now this isn't a limited edition one from Kiko, this is just one of the standard ones. And like I said, because it's slightly thinner, more pointier pencil brush, it just, if you want to get, you can get right up to the lash line and really focus eyeshadow there if that's what you want. So I love that brush as well. So that's all the brushes, that's all my favourite brushes that I love. They're the ones I pick up pretty much all the time, and yeah, so I'll leave them all down below. I'll leave links, prices, etc. just in case there's any that catch your eye. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do continue to leave me suggestions for videos because that's really great, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.